now.
Awesome. All right. So again, my name's Neave, Vice President of ASLN. Tonight, we will be going over Procreate basics. Feel free to follow along with this tutorial with your iPad and Apple Pens or stylus at hand. Just a quick disclaimer, this workshop will only focus on drawing essentials, so we will not be covering animation assist or page assist features. That being said, let's get started. So, what is Procreate? It's a raster graphics editor app for digital painting made by Savage Interactive for iOS and iPad OS. I got that description straight out of Wikipedia. You can purchase the app through the App Store for only $9.99, which is an incredible steal in terms of intuitive digital art programs. Now, the tools. In order to use Procreate, you need, well, an iPad and an Apple Pencil that are compatible to one another. Here's a handy chart of iPad and iPad pencils, Apple Pencils, my goodness, compatibility, in case you're interested in getting one for yourself. Alternatively, you can also use your finger or a third-party stylus. However, using an Apple Pen is your best bet to get the best pen calibration. I personally use a 10.5-inch second-generation iPad Pro and a second-generation Apple Pen. Some pros: it's nice, compact, and perfect for on-the-go work. Some cons: the pen, unlike most drawing tablet styluses, has a battery life of only 12 hours and can be easily misplaced when not attached to the iPad correctly. So make sure you keep your equipment nice and snug. All right, I'm gonna pull out of the canvas for a second. So let's get to the interface. Once you open the app, you are greeted with the gallery. At the top right corner, you will see there are options. Let's click select. All right. Now, to put multiple files into a stack, simply select the files you want and then tap on stack. So let's select this and this and this. I will not stack it because it will now merge all my files and I don't want to do that. But let's deselect them for a second. If you want to export one or more files, simply tap share and select the format you want. As you can see, it has Procreate file all the way down to animated PNG. If you happen to own any other Apple devices, such as a MacBook, you can easily transfer files from one device to another using iDrop. Ooh, AirDrop. To create a fresh new canvas, simply select the plus icon over here and select your desired canvas size. You can also customize your own canvas by tapping the smaller plus icon and adjust to your liking. So let's do that right now. Here you guys go. Just a reminder that the larger your canvas and DPI are, the less layers you have. So let's go to inches. I'm gonna come up with a pretty big canvas, 24-inch by 17-inch. As you guys can see, the maximum layers turned into 10. So again, just a reminder, if you want high quality works, but still have a lot of layers to work with, make sure your canvas size is not humongous. All right, now let's get back to our canvas. On the top right corner, we have our brush tool right here. As you can see, the brush library contains more than 100 unique Procreate brushes, from the sketching tab all the way down to the water tab. You can import your own downloaded brushes, including ones made for Photoshop and Clip Studio. To import, tap the plus icon, select import, and choose from your downloads folder. I have quite a bit of brushes that I've downloaded myself. You can buy them off like other websites from other artists. Like this one, Lin Chen brushes, absolutely amazing brush set. It's made for Clip Studio Paint, but it works just as well with Procreate, and it's honestly for free, so that's amazing. Okay, let me go ahead and cancel that. All right. To adjust your brush stability, tap stabilization and adjust the streamline amount using the slider. Here's the slider. You can further customize your stability with the following options, such as pressure and stabilization. So right here, we have it at 1%. There's pressure, there's stabilization amount, motion filtering, expression. You can experiment with this as you go along. So you can test out your brush by using the drawing pad on the right. So over here, let's draw a circle. That's literally no streamline amount, but if I turn it on, I can suddenly have very smooth lines. And right here, the stabilization is actually pretty new. If you put it up to 100%, it's quite a wonky feeling. So I don't necessarily recommend it, but you know, if you want to experiment with your brushes, go ahead. All right, going back. All right, let me go ahead and pull a demo page for y'all. All right, on the left side, you can adjust the size and the opacity of the brush using the sliders. Right over here, you can adjust it from 1% to 100%, and this is the opacity at the lower side, 1% to 100%. Now, if I put it to 1% or let go, there's literally absolutely nothing, but if you put it up, here you go. The little square right in the middle is a color selection tool. So tap that, bring this to the area you want to select the color, and it will show for you. Now you have it over here. You then have your smudge and erase brushes, which does exactly what you think it would. Much like the paintbrush, you can adjust them to your liking. So let's go ahead and use the smudge brush. Here you go. It's smudging for you. And here's the eraser. And like I said, it works just like the paintbrush, but what you can see is over here with the smudge brush, I have it in a completely different setting. This is the noise brush. I love to use this when I'm doing details. And with the eraser, I usually like mine with round brush just because it's, you know, just standard. However, if you want to do some further details, you can actually use any other ones, like, you know, any other brush setting. So let's go with Leatherwood. Boom, instant detailing. So let's clear that out. All right, right next to eraser, we have layers. To make a new layer, simply select the plus icon, swipe left, and you will be met with lock, duplicate, and delete. Now, if you tap it, you have all these options on the left-hand side. Lastly, we have colors. As you can see over here, there are 5 different options you can choose from to select colors: Disc, Classic, Harmony, Value, and Palettes. Harmony is a great tool to really amp up your drawings through the power of color theory. You can easily come up with color combinations using the Harmony tool. So let me go ahead and grab a color right here. I have a purple one. Let me go ahead and brush that in. Whoops. All right, now let's look at the Harmony tool. Over here you have complementary. So for the purple, complementary is green. Hit it again. You have split complementary. You now have blue and this nice pink purple-ish color. Tap it again. You have analogous. You have this nice purple that can go with this one and this one. Then you have triadic, which goes with this pink. As you can see, some colors even repeat themselves, and that's because it's color theory. And lastly, tetradic. This goes with this green. This goes with this purple. Look, it's the same purple again. And then this nice red pink. There you go. That's the power of Harmony. All right, now we move to palettes. There are 2 windows in the palette option, which includes compact and cards. There are 3 existing palettes in Procreate. As you can see, there's Flourish, Campfire, and Ascend. Those are the ones that already come with Procreate. But if you want to make your own, tap the plus icon and select from the following. One cool thing about the palette feature is that you can make your own palette based on the picture you want to use. Now, simply select New from Photos. Tap the photo you want to use. Let's see here. Maybe I'll use this one from Demon Slayer. If you scroll all the way up, you now have this wonderful new palette. Of course, it's all purple, but you can simply delete it and try to create a new one by uploading a different image. This one I actually made with a different one called Arcane, because I literally pulled it from this picture of Vi. There you go, easy peasy. Right, let's delete that. Let's delete this one too. You can also create a new palette from the photo you've taken from your camera. So if you open this up again, you can use new from camera, or from your files, just select new from file. All right, now going back to our canvas, some helpful hand gestures. So we already know how to zoom in and out and turn the canvas by pinching the screen. So let me pinch it, I'm zooming out, zooming in, turn it all around, boom. All right, now let's try and draw something. Let me clear this. I will draw a little pig. He's not perfect, but he still exists. Anywho, to undo without using the undo button, use 2 fingers and tap the screen. You guys can't see me right now, but simply put 2 fingers on the screen and you undo. The tail is suddenly gone. And if you keep tapping with 2 fingers, ooh, actually I already made it messed up. Keep tapping with 2 fingers, you can undo up to 250 times. Goodbye. Now, if you want to redo, use 3 fingers and tap the screen again. I'm just tapping as I go with 3 fingers and it's redoing itself for me. And there's that little smudge right there. But if you want to clear out your canvas, let's say, use 3 fingers again, do a swiping motion on your screen and it erases everything. Easy peasy. All right. Now, if you want to draw a nice straight line, let's draw that one right now. Simply draw a line and hold. As you can see, you can change it up to your liking as long as you hold on it. You can also do this with curves and polygon shapes, and like the line feature, you can adjust them to your liking. So I'll draw a quick curve, hold, and suddenly I can manipulate it. And then let's say I'll draw a polygon right here. It does that. I can also manipulate it. Now, if you release, you can actually edit the shape. So you have here polyline, quadrilateral, and rectangle. I'll hit this, it's different. Right there, it's different. Okay. Right, just gonna clear this. Ooh. Right. Now, let's say you want to draw a smooth looking circle. Just draw a circle and hold. But if you want a perfect circle, as you can see, I'm still holding it. With 1 free finger, tap the screen, and you have 1 smooth circle. You can just adjust the size by pulling in and out. You can also do this with squares and rectangles. So let's draw a square. Okay, so I'm not tapping the screen yet, but if I tap and hold, you have a nice little square. Then with the rectangle, oh, oops. You have a rectangle, tap the screen, it turned into a square. Not exactly what I was trying to do, but you know. Let's try that one more time. Rectangle, there you go. So obviously it's not entirely perfect, and that's because it depends on the brush you're using. But if you have a neater like brush, let's say an inking brush, you can do it almost perfectly. So let's draw a circle again. Boom, that's all you need to do. Right, let's clear that one out. Actually, I'll delete it right now. All right, let's say you want to fill a shape in with a color. So let's draw a shape again, hold, tap, perfect circle, right? Now, tap the color at the corner, bring it all the way, ooh, my bad. Bring it all the way to the circle, and there you go. But if you want to like, you know, adjust the threshold, simply hold and then drag, and you completely like fill in that circle. If you want to fill out some other spaces, let's say this, so that's completely like covered. But if you see, if you drag it all the way down, it's 0%. You can still see an outline. That's because it's not 100% covered. So if you drag it all the way to 100%, everything is fully filled with color. All right, let's clear that out. Now for some helpful layer tricks. All right, let's go to our next demo page. See, we have a little Kirby here. Now, tap the layer that Kirby is in and select Alpha Lock. Oh, actually, it's already on, but let's do that again. Alpha Lock. As you can see, I'm drawing outside right now, and you guys can't see it because I'm not drawing over Kirby. But if I draw over Kirby, there's that line. I cover him and I cover him, and that's what Alpha Lock does. Alpha Lock locks in the shape that you draw in one layer. As you can see, Kirby is almost completely covered, but let's say you don't want to entirely like mess with Kirby. All right, let's undo that one more time. Clean little Kirby. So create a new layer, tap the layer, select clipping mask. And as you can see, you're doing the exact same thing, but this time you're not exactly destroying Kirby in the process. So let's turn that layer off. Boom, Kirby is safe. Turn it on, it's back. The one thing about clipping mask is if you release it, it works as an independent layer itself. This is honestly perfect for detailing, and I use this a lot for a lot of my illustrations. So let's turn that clipping mask on again. Let's erase this. Then let's say I want to give him some more highlights. I'll select a color that I want, choose the brush that I need. Let's use that. There you go. And if you turn the layer off again, Kirby is safe. The cool thing about clipping mask is that you can create multiple clipping masks on top of the base layer that you want to work with. However, just be mindful, like if you create multiple masks, so let's say, let's turn this on, this two, and this two. I'm gonna draw something real quick on that layer mask. So if I turn off this clipping mask, I suddenly release anything on top of it, including the layer that I turned it off with. So just be mindful that you don't do that, or else you'll have to like lock every single clipping mask on every single layer once again. All right, let's delete that. Okay. If you'd like to merge two layers together, there's an easy way to do that. All right. So right here, I have this blank white canvas and I have Kirby right here. So just pinch two or more layers together and they'll merge with each other. So let's pinch that right now. Select Kirby, select demo page, pinch, pinch, and suddenly Kirby is one with the canvas. I turn that off. You guys can see the other layers. Now let's redo that again. Oops. Let's say you want to select more than one layer at a time. Simply swipe left on the desired layers. All right, so let's do this. Let me create another layer. I'll just draw a little flower over here for demonstration. All right. Simply swipe left on the desired layers. Right here, I swiped on Kirby, I swiped on the original layer, and I'm gonna swipe on demo page. From here, you're even able to group these layers into their own folder. So right now, they're actually in a folder already, but you can make subfolders by going to group. Just tap, group, and there you go. You have a new layer within a layer. Let me undo that. There are a variety of options available to you in the Actions menu. So we'll talk about that right now. All right, open up the Actions menu. Let's go to Preference. And as you can see here, you can toggle the light interface actually. So let's turn that on. Now you have a light interface. Honestly, this is more of like your preference. You can go with light or dark. I prefer dark because my eyes are completely messed up. So let's go back to that. And then you also have this right hand interface. Turn that on. And this is perfect for left-handed people. So I'm not very much used to it, as you can see. So I'm going to turn that off again. positions. All right, let's further look into customizing Procreate. If you have ever used Photoshop on a desktop computer to draw, you may know that the cursor is always present and takes the form of a brush you have selected. So if you're migrating to Procreate from Photoshop, you can experience something similar here. In the Actions menu, go to Preference again, it's already up. All right, go to Preference and toggle on Brush Cursor. The outline of your current brush appears when you touch the canvas. This can be extremely helpful for checking sizing whenever you are painting or drawing. So if I have this off right now, I can't see the size of my brush. But if I turn it on, I can exactly see how big my brush is. Another powerful option available to Procreate users is the drawing guide. And honestly, this is my favorite. When you toggle it on the first time, it will default to the 2D grid, which you can see right now. So in order to turn that on, go to Canvas. All the way down here, you'll see Drawing Guide. Toggle that on, then hit Edit Drawing Guide. There you go. This is usually how it appears for the first time. This is the 2D grid. Now, so when we tap Edit Drawing Guide, we arrive at another screen. This is it. So from here, there are many more options to further expand the capability of the drawing guide. The assisted drawing function can be toggled on here. So right here at the bottom right corner, just turn that on. What this does is help you create a clean and controlled lines based on whichever grid you have activated. With a default 2D grid, you'll easily be able to create straight lines in no time. It's really great for building flat shapes. All right, so let's try to test that out. You can actually also change the colors here through the slider at the very top. I prefer to have mine really dark so I can actually see it. Let's turn on one of these demo pages so I can show you guys how it works. All right, let's turn this off. All right, right now the drawing assist is on, so check this out. Haha, my bad. Let me turn that on actually. Okay. So as you can see, even if I'm trying to draw squiggles on the screen, it only lets me draw seamless lines. If I want to turn that off, tap on the layer, turn off drawing assist, and it's gone. I can now draw scribbles again. Let's clear that. All right, let's take a look at the other grid options. Let's go back to Edit Drawing Guide. Let's turn on Isometric. Ooh, I cannot see that. So let me go ahead and change the colors for that so you guys can actually see it. All right, the Isometric option pulls up a triangular isometric grid. It is a method of drawing that can represent 3D spaces. It's quite prevalent in video game designs, especially notable for Supergiant's Hades game, as well as, I believe it was called Transistor. Let me show you guys how it works. So you guys have this grid on. As you can see, these lines coincide with the image of the background itself. So there's Transistor, there's Hades, and it coincides with the lines. All right, and that's isometric. Now let's turn on my favorite one, Edit Drawing Guide, Perspective. Okay, if you're like me, I honestly like to have a guide with me, even though I already have the perspective toggle on. So let me go ahead and have one on. If you guys ever had Professor St. Pierre's class, you've likely seen this before. So let's go back to Edit Drawing Guide, Perspective. Now, to create a vanishing point, go to one vanishing point, and there you go. There's your first vanishing point. Now, to create two vanishing points, go to the other side, create another one. Wow. All right. You're able to place up to 3 vanishing points at a time and freely adjust their positions to suit your needs. Tap anywhere on the screen to place your vanishing lines. So, like I said, I like to have mine with a guide just because it's much easier for me. But you can also turn this into a 3-point perspective. So just tap anywhere into the canvas. There's your 3-point. If you move it around, you can change the dimensions. And if you'd like to delete a vanishing point, just tap on the circle, select, and then delete. Select, delete. Suddenly it's 1 point, select, delete. There we go. The perspective drawing tool is optimal for backgrounds of any kind, and when paired with an assisted drawing, it can be a very powerful and efficient way to do perspective drawing. I can show you guys some examples that I've done using the perspective tool. So here's one that I use 2-point perspective, and here's one with 3-point perspective. Now, going back to the edit drawing guide, you can see there's assisted drawing over here. If I turn it on, and let's say I want to do that 2-point perspective, I turn it on right now. There you go. This is exactly how I do these backgrounds. I simply draw on over, and it will do everything for me. Drawing assist, there you go. There you go. I know it's kind of cheating, but honestly, if it gets things fast, if it gets things done fast, just use it to your own advantage, you know? All right. Lastly, we have the symmetry option. Go back to edit drawing guide, symmetry. Oops. All right. Go to symmetry. All right. The symmetry option within the drawing guide menu does its name as it implies. It'll allow you to mirror your artwork in a variety of ways. The vertical symmetry guide is the default and shows up when you first tap on the symmetry. There are 2 nodes that can be adjusted to help you achieve the right type of symmetry for your artwork. The blue node, this right here. Right. The blue node moves the grid across the entire canvas. The green node rotates the grid lines. Ooh. Okay. So if you want to reset that, actually, you just have to go to another grid. Nope, just kidding, I guess. Reset, there you go, tap it. Anyways. All right, so let's take a look at what's happening. The guideline appears vertically in the middle of the canvas. Anything you draw on the either side of the guideline will mirror on the other side. This applies to all symmetry modes. As such, when we switch over to horizontal symmetry, all right, the guideline appears horizontally, dividing the page. Quadrant symmetry splits the canvas into 4 quadrants using a vertical and horizontal guideline, so you guys can see. And lastly, radial symmetry divides the canvas into 8 sections. Anything drawn in each segment will be reproduced on every other segment. So let's try this out. I have radial on. Done. Done. And let's try drawing. Whee! Honestly, it's pretty cool when you want to create patterns. I've done this before for some of my illustrations in the past, and it's very, very useful. And honestly, quick and efficient. All right, let's clear this up. Let me turn off drawing guide and also turn off drawing assist. Back in the canvas window. All right, going back to canvas, there is a reference option. Tapping on it will activate the reference companion. All right, let's turn that on. So as you can see, ooh, sorry about that. All right, again, back in the canvas window, there's a reference option. Tapping on it will activate the reference companion. The window appears over your canvas. By default, it shows the entirety of your drawing and allows you to reference the canvas at the same time. So let me go ahead and turn on Kirby once again. Where are you, Kirby? There you are. So as you can see, it's a secondary window for you. All right. You can freely move this window around by dragging the handle that appears at the top of the window. So let's try doing that. All right. And at the bottom of the window, we can see 2 other options present, image and face. The image button is great. It lets you use any image from your device's photo gallery as a reference image while you draw. All right, let's try that out. Tap that, import image, and let me see what I want to use as reference. I'll use the owl house. Now you have a secondary reference right there. All right, You can zoom the reference image in and out and even use the eyedropper tool to sample any colors from it. So let's use the eyedropper tool where we've learned this little square right here. Now drag it. Oh, actually, you have to hold and then use the eyedropper tool. Okay, here's how you zoom in and out. This is how you zoom in this image. And right here, we have the face button, which enables the face paint feature as long as you own a compatible iPad. When face paint is active, the iPad's front-facing camera will turn on. Everything on the canvas is then mapped onto your face and allows you to keep painting in real time. That was what you guys saw for a brief moment. That was my face right there. Anywho, let's go. For this section of the tutorial, we will once again use our Kirby as a test subject. Hello, Kirby. Let's go back to you. The adjustments menu. The adjustments menu allows you to achieve certain effects comparable to those in Photoshop. Such as options include hue, saturation, brightness, and color balance. These can all be used to adjust the appearance of the colors of your image. Three sliders will appear if you activate hue, saturation, brightness option via adjustment menu. All right, so let's hit that. All right, hue determines the overall color that is used in the image. That's why the hue slider shows all the available shades of the color. Now saturation determines the strength of your color. Sliding right will cause the color to become stronger and more bold, more saturated. Sliding to the left weakens the color, allowing it to become more desaturated. Brightness determines how light or dark the image could be. Slide right to lighten, and slide left to darken. Goodbye, Kirby. Another effect you can accomplish with the adjustment menu is the ability to use blur. We've got 3 options for blur. Let's open that up. We have Gaussian, motion, and perspective blur. Gaussian blur allows you to soften and smooth your image of the layer in order to give it an out of focus appearance. So if I toggle this right now to slide to adjust, it is very blurry. When you have the Gaussian blur active, slide to the left to weaken the blur, and then right to strengthen it. By default, it will be 0% blur. The further right you slide, the more out of focus and soft the image becomes. All right, now let's select motion blur. Motion blur helps you to create the illusion of motion within your artwork. The way to activate and make use of motion blur is the same as Gaussian blur. However, with motion blur, you can slide in any direction, allowing you to create an effect that lines up with whatever motion you're going for. So let's say I want to slide up. Now you have that motion right there going up, motion down. Now let's go back. There you go. All right. Lastly, we have the perspective blur. It lets you create full or directional radial blurs to accomplish zooming or blasting effects. Okay, so let's try that out. So I have my perspective blur right in the middle, but if I slide to adjust, there you go. All right, you'll see a little gray disc. You can use it to change the intensity of the blue by sliding left and right. You can keep moving the disc around after applying the blur. So if I apply a blur right now, I'll just move this disc and it changes perspectives. This will let you see how it looks in different directions. And let me turn that off. Cancel. Right. Right next to the adjustment feature icon is the selection feature. Tap on it and you will be greeted with 4 options: automatic, freehand, rectangle, and ellipse. Automatic lets you select an area on a layer with a single touch. This is honestly one of my favorite features because it easily lets you control the amount of threshold you want to select without having to adjust numerically. Simply tap on the area you want to select. So I'll select this. There you go. All right, simply tap on the area you want to select, hold, and adjust the layer to your liking. So if you want to select something, simply hold, and this is how you control the threshold. Right now, Kirby's completely selected because it's 100%, but if I slide to the left, only the outside is selected. Let me actually pull up a new Kirby for y'all. Maybe not showing. There you go. Anyways, Let me turn off alpha lock. Okay. Now going back, then you have freehand. Freehand lets you hand draw the areas you want to select, while rectangle and ellipse lets you select an area with the appropriate shape. The great thing about the selection feature is that you can easily invert a selection and then even remove an area that you don't want to select. So let's say I want to select Kirby here, except for his eyes. Simply select him entirely. So I'll be using freehand. Right. Tap that little circle right there. Now, since I don't want to include his eyes, I'll have to use remove, draw again, tap that circle, and suddenly the only thing selected is his entire body except for his eyes and unfortunately also his mouth. All right, so you can also select the option to fill in areas with color by activating the color fill option. All right, so let's tap that, color fill, and as you can see, he's suddenly filled with black. If you don't like the selection you have chosen, hit clear and you're all good. There you go, back to normal. Lastly, we have the transform tool. Tap it and it will give you 4 options: freeform, uniform, distort, and warp. This feature allows you to manipulate an image or shape. As demonstrated on Kirby, freeform allows you to scale and rotate a layer on a selected area. If you want to lock in the proportions but still manipulate the scale, simply tap uniform. So here's the difference between freeform and uniform. This is freeform. Turn this off. This is freeform. It's bouncy. Reset. And this is uniform. His proportions stay the same. All right. Now, distort allows you to manipulate a selection in a 3-dimensional aspect, allowing you to create a tilted or angled effect. So let's turn that on. Similar to distort, warp allows you to manipulate a selection even further by making it fold and wrap around certain dimensions. I personally find these features incredibly helpful when I want to fix proportions either on a character or environment. So let's test out the distort. As you can see, he's receding. If I do that, this is okay, then hit reset. And here's warp. Simply just fold him in like a little tortilla. He looks incredibly messed up. And if you don't like it, hit reset. Okay. The coolest thing about the transform tool is that it has this option called snapping. When activated, snapping allows you to keep your transformations aligned when moving objects. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's use uniform and turn on snapping. All right. All right. However, if you toggle magnetics on, you are now being guided to follow along the blue guidelines. So I'm turning on snapping so you guys can see what it looks like. So you can see, it gives me the crosshairs of where exactly the middle is with those yellow lines. But if I turn on magnetic, I can easily find it because I'm now being guided by this blue line right here. All right. This is the best for keeping things aligned on the canvas. Just look at Kirby go as he snaps from one alignment to another. You can experiment with the distance and velocity and adjust it to your liking. So here it is, distance, velocity. I personally like to keep mine at the, what was it? Just at the default, just because I honestly don't know. I don't even know how to work like these things personally, but this is good enough for me. You know, it's just a personal preference. If you're unsatisfied with the transformed image, hit reset and you're back to normal old Kirby. Okay, we're on the last stretch and thank you for being so patient with me. So let's go to the fun stuff. All right. So there's this thing called double screen, or actually split screen. There's these 3 icons right here. You tap it, select the one that is in the middle. Now let's go to Safari. As you can see, there's a split screen. All right. Now I have some images ready, but let's say I want to copy paste an image into the canvas. Simply hold on to the image that you want to use, drag it. Hello. Let me do this one more time. Drag it. And now it's importing. And now it's in Procreate. But let's say that you also want to use this as your new palette. So let's select a new photo, go to your colors, go to palettes, and now drag this photo over here, drag it right here to your palette. Gonna go all the way up, and boom, you have a new palette of your own. I honestly use this all the time if I'm like, too lazy to pick any of my colors. So I just grab it from the internet and drag it to palettes. It makes things so much easier. And that is the end of it. Thank you guys so much for all your patience. And honestly, this has been fun. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know now. And also, big thank you to Betsy Vera for helping me out with the script. Honestly, it wouldn't have done it without you. Okay, anyone have questions?
So, I've been using Procreate for just a couple months now, and I've been asked to do like some basic logo designing, and I was just wondering like some tips and tricks on easily doing logos, specifically with like basic shapes and text. I know you showed us the whole hold, tap and hold to create a perfect shape.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but is there any other tips and tricks that you would recommend for handling shapes along with like text and like symmetry?
Honestly, that's a good question. I actually do have like, this one is particularly for lettering, but it also can work with logos. I have some links that you guys can look into because these are the ones that I personally use for this tutorial. So let me go ahead and copy paste it here to the chat. And you're welcome, guys. Thank you so much for coming to my presentation. I really appreciate it. Right. So I just sent it. This one is by Karen Newport. This is like for lettering. However, I found it really useful when it comes to like, lining things up in particular. So let me go ahead and try this out. I think for a logo, especially, let's say you want something that is like, it's quite simple and mirrored. You can use the drawing guide for that. So let me go ahead and make this a new canvas. Turn this into white. And then over here, let me turn off radial actually. So you want to create, let's go to options, let's go to vertical. And let's say, oh gosh, sorry, reset. Let's say you want to make a logo that is pretty symmetrical. I'm going to start off with sketches because, most like, I think for graphic design in particular, you have to create like, a lot of like thumbnails and everything. But for here, at least it makes it easier when you want to make something that is like completely mirrored. So let's say the logo is a bunny. Oh, my bad. Let me just turn that off. Turn off rotational symmetry. That one's a cool one for another time. Okay, so let's create a bunny here. And that's pretty instant. And I think it's very helpful when you want to create something symmetrical and everything. And I think for your case, it would be very, very beneficial for you to like use a 2D grid in order to get things like, situated. And if you want to like, right now the drawing assist is on. So let's say you want to create something that also has a square on it. This makes it super quick because you don't have to like, mess around and try to figure out how to create like clean lines. You just go ahead and do that. And boom, you have something like that right now.
Sweet.
Yeah, like I'm not particularly like, super good in graphic design in itself. However, there's a lot of like, resources out there. I really suggest like going onto YouTube and getting to know more about like, graphic design using Procreate. There's so many cool things that you can do with it. And let's say you also want to deal with some colors. So when you're already in the color stage, let me go ahead. Ooh, hello. Let me go ahead and do that clean circle for you. Hold, tap, clean, fill that in. Now let's turn on alpha lock. This is the great thing about alpha lock, because if you go over here and let's select a brush that is like for detailing. My favorite is noise brush. So when you come to the coloring stage, you can start doing details like this. So super duper easy. Makes things so much easier. You can just figure out the colors. Like again, with the color palettes, you can just look it up online.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can experiment with it. And now you have like, you know, something like that.
Cool.
But yeah, like again, if I find any like resources, especially for graphic design in particular for like a Procreate, I can go ahead and also share that on Discord if you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like this was more than enough to help me get started because like I'm not really a logo designer, but
mhm,
it's just something that people that like are close to me have asked me to try. So
mhm.
I was wondering what I could do, and Procreate I just recently picked it up. So
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, no problem, honestly. And
yeah,
honestly, the great thing about Procreate, like it actively like what is it? It actively updates. And there's so many great things that you can do with it. Like right now, I wasn't even aware of, like, I would want to say that maybe like 10% of the tutorial that I just did, I was not even aware of. And some of them are completely new. One great feature right now that Procreate does is you can actually upload like 3D assets into Procreate and start coloring on it, which I think is super cool. Now, if only I knew how to do 3D modeling, that would be great. But you know,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Wait.
cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, going to Davina. Wait, you can eye drop colors in real time from camera? Yeah, no, it's super cool. Like it just makes it so much easier to use, like especially like let's say that you're in a really great environment right now, like you're in the great outdoors and you really want to use a color palette, just go ahead, toggle this colors, go to palettes, turn that on again and view from camera. I'm going to turn this on and it's going to show hopefully not my face. Now it's my desk. Sorry, I was eating some mondu. Here's my desk. Look at that. Ain't that cool? Big. Anyways, canceled. All right.
How do you
So
do that again?
yeah, I can do that again. Okay, so go to colors,
Colors, okay.
tap the plus icon
Plus,
right there. New from
yeah,
camera. Select that. And then it should give you this.
nice.
Yeah. There's Kenma right there.
I think this could be helpful for painting.
Exactly. It's honestly amazing. That's the great part about Procreate. It's so insanely intuitive. And I would honestly vouch for Procreate anytime. I've been using it for 2 years and I have not gone back since. But actually, let me go back to that. Please continue to work with industry grade apps like Photoshop, though, because that's very important. There is a pretty huge downside to Procreate that I also want to warn everyone, because I'm a diehard Procreate fan. Don't get me wrong. However, the one huge Achilles heel to Procreate is the fact that if you accidentally or by any reason delete Procreate, the actual app, you will lose every single one of your files. In order to retain those files again, you will have to factory reset your iPad and grab anything, hopefully, that is saved in your backup data. And the only reason why I know this is because it's happened to me. I accidentally deleted 2 years worth of work and it was an absolute disaster. Thankfully, I only use my iPad for Procreate and nothing else. So I was like, I don't care if you delete everything as long as I get all my files back. I think it literally just like deleted maybe 10 pieces that I recently worked on. And thankfully, like my backup like came through. But that's just a reminder for everyone. Always have an external hard drive with you to save all your files at. Yes, that is also very true. When you exit from the drawing, they don't save the undo history, which is honestly so crummy. Like I've done that so many times where I'm just like, oh, I accidentally like painted on a layer that I'm not supposed to. And then I accidentally exit out and suddenly like I messed up the entire drawing because it's stuck on that layer. Yeah, those are like, some cons for Procreate. Like not every like, drawing application is perfect, but it's definitely intuitive, especially when you're on the go. But yeah, anyone else have a question? What size canvas do you usually use? Great question. So let me go ahead and exit out of here. So I typically work with 7x11 canvas, by inch, sorry. And that's because like my primary focus is backgrounds. So I go here and I already made this customized, like, customized canvas right here. It's called work. Everything above work is already pre-made. That's like attached to canvas. I mean, sorry, I'm thinking of like CSUN's canvas. Anyways, anything above it is made by Procreate. Oh, I actually work by 17x11. Sorry, not 7x11. My bad. But yeah, this one is pretty huge in itself. So if I put this to 1, like if I put my brush to 1%, you can barely see that. And if I put it high, that's as big as it gets. And the only reason why I work with this kind of canvas size is, again, because I create backgrounds and I want to create have a huge canvas that I can work with. But again, the downside is the bigger your canvas is and the higher the DPI is, the less layers you have. I think for this one, the max layers, I can check it out right now, actually. I believe I should go to canvas information. So here, canvas information, date created. Oh, you can even put your name. That's actually new. Layers. I can only go up to 27 layers, and it's so unfortunate, honestly. It really sucks, but like the thing about me is I typically work with like maybe 15 layers or less anyways. But if you're the type of person who has like 100 layers at a time, do not have a huge canvas on you because it will suck once you have to continue to work. All right, pulling back. I'm gonna delete that. Boom. Okay. Any recommendations for how many pixels is that? Actually, good question, Jasmine. Let me go ahead and go back. Let's see. Work. Let me look at the canvas, crop and resize. Oh yeah, there's that crop and resize. Go to settings, lock this in. So right now it says 17x11, but if you put it at pixels, it's at 5,100 pixels by 3,300 pixels, and that's 300 DPI. Also, the great thing about this is like you can also change the dimensions by these dimensions: pixels, inches, centimeters, millimeters. And yeah, okay, done. All right, for customized brushes, that is a great question. I recently got my new brush from Lynn. Oh gosh, what is her name again? Lynn Chen. All right, that one is completely free, and it's a Clip Studio paint brush. Let me go ahead and look it up, and I can share it with you guys. Actually, it's right here right now. There you go. This one is completely free. It's a brush set from 2018, but it's absolutely wonderful. Let me go ahead and share that with y'all. There's also like brush sets that are that go on sale. If you are the type to use brushes for graphics, like more of a graphic style, there's this one called Vintage Brush Set. Let me go ahead. Brush Set, Procreate. I recently downloaded it during Christmas when they had a massive sale. Yeah, it's Retro Supply. There you go. So right now they actually have a complete collection for Procreate for $197. Oh, actually that's a huge sale because it's normally $639. That's kind of amazing. But during Christmas, there was a set of these pens for, I believe, $30, I think, that would normally go for $100. I could be very wrong, but so don't quote me on it. But here's one that's pretty good if you're doing some pretty graphic-esque excuse me, graphic-esque brushes. Have you tried Procreate Pocket on iPhone? I have not. Unfortunately, I was told that it's quite disappointing. So I kind of don't want to try it out. And yeah, I would only recommend Procreate on the iPad personally. Okay, let me go ahead into chat. All right. Any other questions? Oh, actually, before I let you guys go, here are some other helpful links for more Procreate tutorials. Highly recommend it. Please check it out. And honestly, most of this tutorial is straight from the Procreate handbook available online. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.